Good afternoon on what is another bright, slightly blustery and chilly day. It is Thursday the 4th of November. I am back in the Wyrd Nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a cat who is not ours on my lap, and some parcels. And the next one I'm going to open is this one. Came this morning, not quite sure what's in it, so let's find out. Opens up nice and easy. Oh, and it is Wyrd Science, number 2, the Expert Rules. Essentially, this is fantasy adventure. This is the fantasy adventure game expert magazine. Thanks, Kat. And from D&D BX 40 to Wander Home, 30 Sword Lesbians, and the changing face of tabletop gaming. So yeah, I thought about that, but Dungeons and Dragons, BX Dungeons and Dragons, essentially the version of basic Dungeons and Dragons that came out before the Mensa Red Box, is 40 this year, along with a lot of other things. Now, I really liked the first issue of Wyrd Science. Interesting read. It was mostly about gaming rather than for gaming, if you see what I mean. So basically, it had no content which you could bring to your table and play. So it was talking about things about gaming, and it was really kind of wrapped up in what it was like gaming during lockdown. And that makes a lot of sense because that's when it came out, and that's really something that affected how we gamed. Now, it affected a lot of things. I'm not saying that it didn't, but it did affect how we gamed. So what have we got in here? We open up. So we've got the unboxing. So there's the editorial, and we get a list of the contributors, table of contents, and then we look at basically it does look at getting the gaming community and so on. So a cast pod, what the Smart Party do, which is a long-running podcast, which has won a couple of awards. It's another UK podcast, and that one's been going for quite a while. And then advert for Mort Bourge, if you will. I can't say it correctly, terribly sorry. And then we have discussion of an ongoing progress that gets about a game, which is Coyote and Crow, which is set in a First Nations alternate future where colonization never happens. So that's interesting. That's the sort of thing I really like as a role-playing game. What if? What's different? And then we have a look at there's an interview here with John Peterson about the Elusive Shift. Now, if you've not read the Elusive Shift, you really should if you're interested in role-playing games at all, because it talks about when did that point happen where we moved on, where we defined what a role-playing was, and we knew what it was. Because when it first appeared, we didn't know what it was, and even the term role-playing game wasn't used until a couple of years in, and so on. What we think of the role-playing game really comes out of wargaming and storytelling. It's a combination of the two, and there was a lot of discussion about how you gamed, why you gamed, what was the right way to do it. And the Elusive Shift really looks at that first 5, 6, 7 years of the role-playing hobby when it was being discussed in fandom. And it's a conversation that happened in sort of waves as people entered the hobby. So, but it's an interesting book. Do find a copy, have read it, have reviewed it. There is a link on the blog, and there's also, I've done an unboxing as well, and John Peterson also has The Game Wizards, another book out as I post this video called The Game Wizards, which talks about the early history of Dungeons and Dragons, the creators of the game, rather than the game itself. So this has got a nice interview here with John Peterson. Then the Art of Darkness, a 1,000-year playthrough. Oh, this is basically playthrough of the solo journaling game 1,000 Year Vampire, which is a really lovely little game. Basically, if you writing a story of how you became and lived as a vampire. Interesting, capturing the at the moment here we have kick-stopping the shipping forecast, and that's looking at the problem, of course, with shipping things at the moment, which is hugely affecting the industry, with credit cards, looking at the magic collectors in the black, how certain magic cards have become collectible and rare. Then small games, big ideas, looking at small, basically containing big ideas in small packages. And I reviewed a couple of Anna Blackwell's games, Rise and Delve, which again are solo games of building dungeons. One from below as sort of like the evil guys, and then one from above as dwarves. And then basically a bit of fiction, Crooked Tales. Nice piece of artwork there. So lots in here. A guide to LARPing. Not something I've done in very many years. And then we have Dungeon Life Begins at 40, which looks at the BX version of Dungeons and Dragons, basic Dungeons and Dragons. And this is the one that I played first. This is the one that got me into the game. And I really liked it. I still like that version, actually. I've been playing Old School Essentials, and I'm really enjoying it. Playing Old School Essentials, playing the Lich Way from White Dwarf issue number 9, and that's been huge fun. And then basically Words Against History, basically the inspiration for it there. So this really looking forward to this. Got lots to dig into, and then basically looking to the forward of it. Of the BX, the most obvious one being how it's appeared with Old School Essentials, which is essentially still the same rules but really cleaned up, made accessible and presented very nicely. And that's looking at some of them. Some of the ones that are doing obviously Old School Essentials is there. We've got some OSR titles there, including Nook, which is the magazine, and I've done unboxings of most of these, or reviewed a lot of them, including the very lovely Mouse Ritter. I have reviewed that. I've not reviewed Mouse Ritter because I can't, because I edited it. And then we really kind of come up to date with a look at firstly Sword Lesbians, which is a lot of fun to play. And I say that as an ordinary, just a middle-aged Englishman. And it is fun to play because it's role-playing. You're playing a different role, you're putting yourself into that, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, what would that character do? It's not a lot different. It's not a lot different. Fundamentally, it's not a lot different to you role-playing any other kind of character. But, if you can role-play one character, you can have a go at role-playing a thirsty sword lesson if you want to. I did, and it was fun. I want to thank Lloyd for running that. That was a lot of fun. And if you get a chance to play role-playing games with Lloyd, please do. And then look at Warhammer Fantasy. Again, a game I've only looked at the starter set for this, and I really want to crack open the core rulebook, but it's one of time. That's quite a lengthy article. Basically, in Wonderhome, they'll be okay. They'll all be okay, basically. This is like a role-playing game about exploration. Again, really nice artwork, and I hope if that's in the role-playing game, looking forward to seeing that. Again, basically, anthropomorphic animals that they're exploring. So what this means, in one way, I actually have some magazines to review. Because I do like to do like a weekend of sort of like just magazines to review. South of the Borderlands, this looks at role-playing in South America. We know it happens because essentially there's content coming out of that definitely from Brazil, and this is done. There's a little fanzine which is doing a 3-part version of the done in 3 parts, looking at this kind of style as a new version of Keep on the Borderlands. I'll have to go and check whether he's done the 2nd version yet, but that's really worth looking at, and that's a lovely cartoon style. And then we've got some interesting things to look at there. And I think that's going to be an interesting article to read, because when we think of role playing, it's very Western centric. So it's US, UK, and now more certainly with the advent of Free League publishing titles, Europe centric. But there's role playing elsewhere. And obviously we don't get to hear or see about it as much because it's not in English. There's been a few titles coming out of Asia recently, and I've been trying to get hold of them and review them, talk about them, because they deserve as much coverage as the one any other title, especially if they, I mean, you know, no matter if they're good or bad, it's the same, giving them the fair due. Okay, and again, this continues the expression of the South American role-playing hobby. And then I'm not quite sure what this is. And this is basically talking about Warhammer and its effect upon the hobby. I think it's not quite clear. And essentially, I think that's basically, and it's looking at its influence and some of the things that have come out of that influence. And we're carrying on the war game theme. We're looking at another skirmish war game. I mean, the thing is, I do like war games, and I do like miniatures, but it's sort of like I don't have time to really to look at them in any detail. And essentially we have Alt-Y NYC 88, which is look at an alternate sort of like a New York based role-playing game. I'll have to go and look at that one. It's not something I've come across. And basically you've got there's a page of links there, so I can get I now know where to go and look. And more miniatures and war games. And cat, yeah. So the reason why I don't have miniatures, I've got cats. And looking at that, and then interview with the author for the Black Library, which is the Games Workshop's basically fiction arm. Basically, you've never seen it. There's advert from Mouse Ritter, which I really like. Basically, nice anthropomorphic role-playing game. Basically, here we're looking at sort of like the development of role-playing by basically up-and-coming designers. Essentially, for extraordinary women forging new and exciting paths in the world to tabletop role-play game. Great, that'll be interesting to see what they're creating. Yeah. And then that's the last bit. Hit points. We're looking at particular. Basically, what they're reading, playing, pricking around the table. So basically, it's sort of like the review section. It's a bit sort of it's a bit brief, I suppose, but a bit of you're running through it. So I think here's some of the ideas. I mean, the problem, of course, with this kind of thing with a magazine is that you're capturing the point right now, and then you're automatically on to the next thing. So magazines tend not to do a lot of reviews, but here we go. We've got look at Solo Games 2, final look, and then we finally get down to film and TV. And then a nice TV reference with Time Slip, back to Games Workshop at its very beginning. So that is Wyrd Science issue 2, the Expert Rules. Nice nod to the Expert Rules from TSR, Frank Mentzer's design, in sort of basically, and also basically just the look and the colour, the yellow and the blue, for basically second issue of Wyrd Science. Look forward to reviewing this in detail and actually reading this. It's got some good articles in here, and there's the website if you're going to look at that. So thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button, and of course if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you posting those, and I do take the time to read them. And lastly, if you want to basically, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me back out here in the garden with a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel and a book or game which I can basically unbox, unpackage and pull out and talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, sometimes by a cat who is not ours, he's gone off, then please do hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.